Dream Stories podcast.
We are.
And I didn't say welcome this time.
Welcome.
I thank you for having me.
Not having you. You just happen to be here.
I know. And I snorted when I laughed too.
Yes, you did.
Oh, well, it's all life.
It is.
And we're just real people.
We are definitely real people.
We are real people.
We have real struggles. Like, we'll be
likes
fighting the whole, the family. We'll be fighting, and then somebody will say,
Time for
roll
the
'em.
podcast.
Oh, hello.
It's kind of like that thing where, always on the way to church, you never fight except on the way to church.
Exactly.
Oh, Lord.
We don't fight. We just strongly disagree with each other.
I don't know if you'd kind of even strongly disagree. We have very strong opinions that we discuss vehemently. Yes. It's true. All right. Well, at any rate, you had a dream last night, and we're going to talk about that. And I thought it might lead us into talking about some more different types of symbols. So I think last week we talked a fair amount about different symbols we see in nature. And we might just run into some other types of symbols today, depending on how much time it takes to go over your dream and the specifics of it, because it has to do with parts of the body, or in your case in particular, with hair.
Yeah.
And so
which is important
to you, I know.
I mean, that was one of the arguments we were having. Let's just go ahead and put it out there, because it's something that really bothers me. A few weeks ago, we did a podcast, and I had this, and most people I don't think even watch the podcast. I think most people just listen to it. Audio.
It's about 50-50, I think.
Okay, well, thank you for encouraging me. But I just thought, I look fine. I'm just going to go up like I am. I looked pretty rough that day. Anyway, and then the thumbnail that popped up on YouTube was a horrible picture of me. It was frozen. And it happens.
You did look pretty rough.
I did look rough. And
you're a very beautiful woman. And so when you look rough, it's just an exception to the rule.
Thank you, Mike. Anyway, so maybe it's vanity, it's wrong, whatever. I just like to look presentable, but I looked rough that night. So I was asking, can we do it? Not only did I look rough, but I mean, just this whole chin thing, it just looked awful. I said, can we do a different angle? And so we've been going at it about different angles and stuff. So you may see us in the future switcheroo some things around.
You never know. It could happen.
Yeah.
It could happen. So you just got to give our producer more notice than 30 seconds.
Oh, my producer, one of my sons, he gets really, he's very passionate about how he feels.
And how long
Mom
it takes
is very passionate
things.
about the way she feels. And we're both babies.
That's true. You are.
Not literally, but literally.
You're the youngest of your siblings,
Yes.
and he's the youngest of his.
Yes.
Yeah, you're both literally babies.
So we know how to scrap.
And you both literally still act like babies at times.
Maybe so. Probably so.
Oh, Lord.
But anyway,
okay. All right, so you had a dream about hair.
I did. And
Very important topic for not only you, but most women.
It is. And honestly, I have been, I have gray coming through now. And so I've been trying to figure out, how can I cover up this gray? Should I embrace my gray? COVID,
I tried to get you to embrace the gray. If people want to go back and watch episodes, you had gray for a little while. I liked it.
I still have gray.
Yeah, you barely see
Oh, Michael, I have gray. Trust me. Anyway, so it may not show up that well on camera right now, but I have gray. And I thought, well, I'm just going to embrace my gray. COVID happened. It'll be fine, And I did it. I've done it for about a year now. And then I found some spray where I could just spray my hair color and just to see if I want to go back to coloring, and I loved it, and so I'm probably going to go back to coloring my hair. But anyway, so I say all that to say that this has been on my mind a lot, my hair. So I had, and what I love about dreams and how our Creator speaks to us is He'll use the language that has been important or prevalent in our life recently to teach us a spiritual thing, right?
Does. That's right.
So, would you like to hear the dream?
Yeah. Well, before you go there, let me just say, there's two things that happen with things that are really on our mind a lot. One is God will use that imagery to speak something to us,
right?
And a lot of times, He does that because He then can not only speak through the dream, but he can also speak through the circumstances of life. They become a metaphor too.
Yeah.
The other thing, and the more I won't say it's negative, but the more negative side of that is when we end up moving into a soulless dream out of it, which is it's just been on my mind a lot.
Right.
And so it just comes out of my own mind, will, and emotions.
Right.
But even those dreams sometimes will point out something that our Creator's wanting us to recognize.
Yeah,
so.
even yesterday I was thinking, why do I want long hair? I mean, I'm getting older. You know, there's a lot of women. Some women think it's not good to have long hair. You know, they think you should cut it short once you pass a certain age. No. But I've always no. Okay. So
I like your.
I had short hair one time.
You did.
It was not good.
I have told you very passionately, do not cut your hair.
So anyway, yesterday I was examining my heart, and I'm like, why do I want long hair?
Because your husband wants it.
Because I thought to
myself,
myself,
your husband.
Well, no, that's not what it was. But
but
I didn't know you were that passionate about this. I didn't really know you were that passionate. Anyway, about that. I was thinking about when I was younger. My mother was in cosmetology school when I was a young girl. So do you know who became her guinea pig for hairdos?
Oh, boy, you got all the new
Oh,
dudes.
listen, I will never forget. I had long hair. My mother cut me in a pixie cut. Do you know what a pixie cut is?
I do, but some of our
it would be like Tinkerbell, if you know who Tinkerbell is.
It's like a crew cut for a guy.
No, not a crew cut, but it's just a boyish look for a girl. But it can be really cute on some people. But anyway, and so my mom was always experimenting on my little head of hair, you know. So I think that may have scarred me a little bit. So I've always wanted long hair. Anyway, I'm digressing. So I want to talk about the dream.
Yes.
So I was examining myself. Why do I have to have this long hair? So it makes me wonder if that's why God chose to use this language in my dream. The dream was I'm in a salon and I'm trying to maybe get an appointment and I think all the appointments are taken. I can't get worked in or whatever. And I thought, well, I'm just going to hang out for a while and maybe I'll be able to. And I had some friends there. I don't remember who they were. I think my sister was there. Hair is very important to her too. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, what can I do? And there was somebody cutting hair beside, kind of to my back side, but over on this side where I was looking in the mirror, I pulled up my hair and looked underneath, and my hair was bleach blonde. For a brunette to go up to a bleach blonde, you can damage your hair, or it just doesn't look the right color if you try to bring it up too fast, if you try to get blonde real fast. So I was looking, and in my mind I was thinking I wanted to do balayage or what do you call it, where you paint it on something.
I don't even know what balayage is. So.
Balayage, whatever. But anyway, it's just where they kind of paint the color on it. It kind of blends in really nice. Anyway, and when I looked at my hair being this deep or this rich blonde color that was not good, didn't look good on me, I was like, oh my goodness, I've messed up my hair. My hair's messed up. What have I done? And then I'm trying to tell this guy who's beside me, who seems to be very good at what he does, and he's chopping away on this girl's hair that's in his chair, and the next thing I know, I hear scissors. And I turn around, and my hair is on the floor.
That's not good.
I know.
I mean, I'm not talking about from the dream perspective. It might be great from the dream perspective.
Oh, I don't know.
But I don't want you having short hair. So
I looked down, I'm like, oh my goodness. And I looked at him, and I was frustrated, and I said, you just cut my hair? And he goes, yes. And I looked in the mirror, and it was so adorable. I was like, oh my goodness, I loved it. I didn't think I would. So I'm examining the dream this morning, and you want to hear my thoughts? Or,
sure. I think it's a pretty cool dream.
Well, thank you. I think it's definitely a revealing dream.
Yes.
You know. So,
but we better hear your version first, because you might not want to hear my version if it doesn't go along with yours.
Exactly. Well, no, you need.
We have not talked about this in advance at all, by the way. So.
That's true. It could be a corrective dream in a way, and so I'm not dumb. I do see things here, even though I don't always like talking about them. Here's what I don't mind hearing your interpretation, but I don't know if I want to hear your application.
Sure.
And there's a difference, isn't there? Okay.
Yes.
So for me,
application is very personal.
It is very
personal. It's
personal.
about what do I do with this, and sometimes when we jump to application, without really just leaving the interpretation in place, we can offend people.
Right.
Because it sounds like we're telling them what to do. And
exactly. And that's where families get in trouble, right?
That's why we often say don't interpret for a spouse.
I know what that's about. That's about you not doing this, and you should do that, And it's good to let God reveal those things to you, because then you're not fighting or resisting. But anyway, so I felt like the dream probably meant there's some areas that have to do in my life with things being the way that I want them, and doing it homemade, self done. I was trying to ride on the credibility of what my mother had taught me to do with my hair, which I can do, but I'm not well trained in that. So I felt like it had something to do with in areas where I'm trying to handle things myself, and try to hang on to some things. It's okay to let some things be purged from me. And I will like it. But if you ask me if I want it, I'm going to say no. But if it just happens, I'll actually be okay with it. It's just preparing me, I think, for something of some type of pruning that's coming. Yeah. I don't think it means that I'm losing wisdom or even glory, because we talked about what can hair mean,
That's right. Hair can speak to wisdom. That's something from Scripture, that applies. Glory for a woman in particular, hair relates to. Hair can be a covering. It covers your head. It can be things like that. Hair can also have other meanings depending on its color and different things like that. And I think in your case, there's some things that the color and hair go together with.
I didn't even think about the color. I thought I had messed up, something, but. Anyway.
Well, I think you're on track with your interpretation is talking about there's some places you've tried to do things yourself that need to be purged or cut off at the root.
And I was looking for help. I was looking for help. I went to a salon because I thought, I can't do this by myself anymore. So it just means I should probably stay humble, teachable, which we always should, right? Yeah, and be willing to let other people help me get to this place of wisdom, but in a different kind of way.
Well, and I think, too, in your case, in this particular case, hair for women, many times, particularly longer hair, from Scripture and other concepts is hair is the glory of a woman. But you got to remember that we really carry, from our perspective of faith, we really carry no glory of our own. We reflect the glory of our Creator.
Right.
And so your hair in this case, I think, is about you reflecting God's glory, how you reflect God's glory. And there's some things that you've tried to take on yourself that have ended up creating things that were rooted in fear. Which is one of the colors.
Watch it.
I know. Well, I'm just saying the yellow. It's a color that relates to fear. It can relate to a lot of other things, but fear is one of those.
Well, it was a color. It didn't look good. I know that when I looked at it.
And that gives us an indication, a pretty good indication. It's probably not a positive color.
Right.
It didn't look good. Therefore, the color has more of a negative meaning, because yellow can also be hope.
Yeah.
And so it's discernment that tells us which direction that's going. There are other things as well, but hope and fear tend to be the more common meanings of yellow. And so it's something that kind of is rooted in fear. It doesn't mean you're a fearful person or you're afraid, but you said it first. You've tried to do some things yourself, and you don't really want anybody else to mess with it.
Right.
And that's a fear-based concept.
Yeah.
So I hope I'm not offending you with it.
You haven't offended me, and I know that you probably already think you have the application to it, and you just need to keep that to yourself.
No, I'm not necessarily even seeing the application.
I wish you could have seen his face. Maybe you did. I don't know if that will make it into the clip or not.
Yep.
But I know he's got something in his mind, but it may not mean that at all. Because see, what happens is
it may not. I'm just thinking in terms of things we talked about recently.
Listen. I'm clapping. I'm clapping at you.
Listen, licking.
So if you happen to be right, let's just say 2 years down the road, you look back and go, "Oh, you were right." Or 2 years down the road, I look back and I go, "Oh, did you notice that? This is what I meant." That's okay to reflect back. What's hard is when you are in a relationship with someone, be it brother, sister, husband, child, it is good to stay away from that sort of thing where you're trying to help them see where God's trying to correct them or something. I felt like it was a dream about not just about revealing. And we can put dream categories in a lot of different ways. Dream categories sort of spill over into each other.
They do.
They cross over each other. They touch one another. So it's a revealing dream, but I felt like it was somewhat corrective, not harshly corrective, but hey, pay attention to this, be open to this, and what you may think you wouldn't like, you might actually like.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
And when I say I kind of see some application to it, it's not my place to even speak that anyway. Even if you weren't my wife, it wouldn't be my place to speak that, because the application I potentially see has to do with conversations we've had about various things, and that can be very misleading.
Yeah.
So my application perspective could end up coming totally from my own knowledge and not from the Spirit of God, and it's not valuable. That's one reason not to. A second reason not to get into the application is the application is for you.
That's right.
Whether you're my spouse or not, it's not my place to give you the application. Now, if you said to me, "What does that mean? How does that work? Or what's that about? Or what do I need to do? Or how do I respond?" You've invited me to give input. Then it lessens. Then it gives more favor for it. Mm-hmm. And even then, I would say it could be.
Right.
But I would never say this is what it is.
But I warned you before. I was like, not that you would have anyway, but just be careful.
Yeah.
It could be.
But that's true across the board. That's true with most dream interpretation. Exactly.
Yes. I mean, even you have woke up, told me dreams before, and I've said, and you said, I have no idea what that means. I'm like, are you kidding me? You don't know what that dream means, And then I'll start and I'll be like, okay, that's not from me. I might be like, well, here's this, here's that, a couple of little things, and then you decide what it means,
Right.
And it really
clues
means
and things to help you see a direction instead of giving you the direct application.
It really means more, and it's one of those things. It's like allowing your children to let go and find God.
Yeah,
it's allowing a believer or someone who's had a dream from their Creator to explore their relationship with their Creator.
Yeah, it really is, and I think one of the neat things about it is that it's when you have a dream, your Creator didn't speak to the person interpreting it. Mm-hmm. The Creator spoke to you. Yeah. It's for you. The application is for you. Even the interpretation is for you. Mm-hmm. The only role the interpreter has is to help you understand what Creator God already said to you.
Yeah.
And that becomes really important. So.
Right. So let's just talk about hair and that type of thing. And I don't have a specific, well, I do have another dream that I'd had, but that dealt with hair. But let's talk about the difference between a lady having a hair dream and a man having a hair dream. If a woman's hair is, even in what we look at a lot of times, is the ancient Hebrew writings of Scripture, and it talks about a woman's hair is her glory,
her covering.
Her covering, and so I think it's just plain language. There's a metaphor there of, look, women like for their hair to look nice. This is not anything new. That's historically that is true.
It is. It can also be a deeper metaphor that says, this is your glory, your covering. This is about. This is a reflection. Hair becomes a metaphor for where you're submitted or where you're covered.
Right.
And without getting into, because I know people struggle with women submitting to their husbands, men, and things. Let me just say something about that in case that bothers you. No woman would ever have a problem submitting to a man who followed his biblical responsibilities, which is to love the wife enough to lay down his life for her. The problem with submission is men don't follow that side of it, because it wouldn't really be submission then.
Right.
It would be mutual support at that point.
Right.
But we struggle with it because we don't understand that. That's just a whole different topic. But I figured since I mentioned it, I should at least give some definition to it.
Okay.
But yeah, I think when you deal with, I think a lot of times when you deal with body parts as a whole, hair, eyes, nose, hands, wrists, arms, legs, feet. You one thing that happens with any part of the body, when it's your part of the body, when it's you, and the emphasis is on that part of the body, is it's saying right up front to you. One of the images is it's saying up to you, this is personal. This is a personal issue.
Yeah.
So if I have a dream and I'm focused on your hair, that's a different setting.
It is.
Than me being focused on my hair.
Even looking at the color of the hair, that it was like a golden brassy color. That is one of the struggles with we call it lifting hair when you're going from a dark to a light. You're trying to lift it to the next shade. And one of the problems that happens is brassiness. And I've done that before. I've done, actually I did it one time. My mother said, don't put that color on your hair. It's not going to look good. And you know what I did?
You did it anyway.
I tried anyway. I thought, well, she could be wrong. And so this was lighter than that, but why? It could have been gray. It could have been purple. It could have been red in the dream, and it wasn't. And there's a meaning.
There's a reason.
You
for
say,
the color.
why this, not that? Why is it different? So let's just talk about different types of hair. Let's talk about like if a man, if in his dream his head's being shaved, it would always depend on the context, I think, because you can't just say because your head's being shaved that you've lost wisdom. Because what if you're shaving your hair? Are you choosing to get away from wisdom? Or
it could mean those things. It could, but there's a big difference between a man losing all of his hair or shaving his head versus a woman doing it. Just from natural purposes, men are much more comfortable with a bald head than women are in general. So that has meaning in the dream, and that will affect the meaning in the dream. And in some cases, you got to look at various issues like what's happening. What if the person's shaving their head because they don't have access to to a rubber or plastic cap, and they're about to be swimming competitively for speed? That's a very positive.
That's why I said
want
context.
To move in the spirit quicker.
Absolutely. So you're moving things. You're removing things that would slow you down.
Right.
And then if you think of it in terms of if you're sitting there in front of a mirror and someone else is shaving your hair and you have on military fatigues, that's going to mean something totally. You're getting prepared.
That's
for
a preparation
battle,
for battle type
absolutely.
thing. You've been recruited. You're going through boot camp. There's some new training that's coming your way.
Yeah. But if a dream is just about your hair's falling out, that would be interesting. And that would be, I think, a lot more along the lines of possibly not exercising wisdom in a certain area.
Well, and I think that's a great transition to other parts of the body, too, because things falling out, the most common things you would see in a dream falling out would be hair and teeth. And things falling out are usually not positives.
Yeah.
And they're usually not positives in general in life.
Right.
When your hair just starts falling out, you're aging, there's a sickness or a disease that you're battling, there are issues with proper growth structures, there are issues with gum disease if it's your teeth.
Yeah.
There's usually negatives associated with something just falling out. Something being cut or something being pulled could be positive or could be negative. If you have a tooth, for example, that is very painful and there's nothing else that can be done for it but to pull it out, and you're alleviating the pain with pulling it out, you're relieving pressure. You're not losing whatever the tooth. And a good, just real quick, I can hit teeth are pretty straightforward. Teeth are what we chew with. So it's our ability to digest, to get something ready to be digested, to process something.
To break something down
into its components, right? And typically the type of teeth you're dealing with are going to have impact on what it means. So an eye tooth is going to often have to do with your vision or your ability to see things. Wisdom teeth. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
probably has to do with wisdom. Your incisors. Ability to cut through, to get to the heart of something.
Right.
So each tooth has the molars. They're what actually literally breaks things down. So each function of those teeth is going to speak to something that you're either been in pain from or been in a place of discomfort you need relief from, or you, or if it's growing back, something you're gaining, or if it's, you lost your baby teeth finally, and that at 40 years old you lost your baby teeth, and now you're getting your adult teeth.
Right.
Goodness, you're finally maturing.
Yeah.
You're growing up.
I had a dream many years back of one of my good friends that there had been like this apocalypse type thing that had happened, and that she had veneers on her teeth, which were really pretty. She doesn't in real life, but in the dream she did. But in this apocalypse, she lost her veneers. Her veneers were gone. So it was like, okay, during this difficult thing, your true teeth are shining through. You know, they're you've lost
your real
some
smile, your real. I mean, you got different ways to look at that. Then it becomes what's being seen. Are we seeing the real you now? The people talk about the real smile, a genuine smile versus something else. It's something you use to cover up because because you didn't want to cut through the stuff that life was throwing at you. Now being removed so you can just cut to the heart.
Not having conveniences of things that we normally have, that maybe things are not available to you. I also had a dream once where someone who had a lot of wisdom shaved their beard off. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, he's losing his wisdom. And that's not what it was. He was transitioning from one role going into another, and the new role he was going to be in, he didn't have a lot of wisdom in that role.
It was a new thing.
It was a new thing for them.
We talk about a lot of times, like if the couple of times I've shaved my beard, I have a very baby face. Yeah, so it's you're less mature in a particular area. Would have something to do with it. And that's an interesting thing with hair. Hair's different on the head versus the facial hair. Is there going to be a different a beard and mustache would have different meanings. They would speak into things in different ways. And while we're on the head, we talked about teeth, we talked about hair, we talked about beards. Eyes, ears, nose, and mouth are really straightforward, and people don't.
Absolutely.
People sometimes struggle because they're so straightforward. Eyes have to do with seeing.
Yeah.
Your ability to see clearly, spiritually, emotionally, naturally, etc. A nose, we call someone who has a very sensitive nose discerning. They're able to discern or recognize distinct smells. So nose often and smell often has to do with discernment.
But discernment, if just for lack of a better term, you could even say we have sayings in America of "I smell a rat."
Yeah,
it means I smell something. I'm discerning something that doesn't seem right. There just seems to be something that's not right here. So I mean, we all kind of have that sense about us many times. You know.
I'm able to identify something easily.
Yeah.
Real quick, because we're going to run out of time. Ears, again, they're straightforward, having to do with hearing, ability to hear, to understand, to grasp communication.
Yeah, and you even have dreams where people are pulling wax out of their ears.
Yeah, it's clearing up their ability to hear.
Things are getting unclogged.
Or wearing earmuffs
right
over their ears, something that's blocking their ability to hear. Or keeping their hearing from growing cold.
Yeah.
See, it could go in any direction.
Yeah, that's all about context again.
The mouth in general is often about communication, nourishment, being able to receive nourishment. To receive
in, but to also give out.
And also communicate or give out something.
Yeah.
So we stuck with body parts from the neck up today.
Yeah. Yeah. People may think this sounds ridiculous. They may be going, why are you going on about such small, minute things? Dreams can contain some of the most tiniest details sometimes, but it's pointed out for a specific reason.
And you don't want to dig into every detail in a dream,
don't.
But you do want to identify and recognize those details that seem to have an emphasis. Yeah. You want to work with them. You want to listen to what they're speaking to you. It's very important. Yeah. So, well, we are really out of time. That's it. I thought we wouldn't even get through. I thought, we'd have more time than we ever needed to talk about this kind of stuff. But
you were worried we wouldn't cover it.
I thought we'd be finished in 10 minutes. So,
well, that's good.
So that's neat. It's good.
That's good.
Well, we are out of time, so let's just say to you guys before we go, please like, share, and subscribe. It just depends on where you're getting the podcast. If it's on the podcasting services, please give us feedback there. Leave reviews and things. Facebook. Subscribe to or like the Facebook page, the Dream Stories page. Give us a comment there and let us know. YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel and put something in the comments. Just helps us to know you're there and what we're doing is worthwhile. And I just want to give a little preview. We have an amazing listener who's been working very hard for us, who is been working on a website revamp and some new
thumbnails,
branding kind of stuff. Just anyway, some cool stuff.
Awesome.
So it's not too far away now. So I feel pretty good about just saying we're about to see some fun graphical image kind of changes that'll be fun. Yeah. I'm really excited about it because I got to see the preview of some of it recently.
I'm excited about it too.
Fun. So
that's awesome.
All right, with that said, bless you guys, and we'll see you next time. Till then, keep dreaming.